10 reasons why foreigners don't like to live in Vietnam. We all know that Vietnam is one of the best places for vacationing. If you're here short term, the people are nice, the weather is pretty good all year round, and the price is inexpensive. But if you're trying to move here long term to start a career, a family, or even to retire, there are some things you should consider. And these are the common things that are brought up to me. Number one is air pollution. How's the air quality here in District 1? If you guys are living in Hanoi or Saigon, Ho Chi Minh City, then of course the air quality is not as good as other regions. That's because from the provinces and rural areas, people all come here to start a career, to hustle, make that money, and send back home. Because there's a lot of people, that's why air pollution is higher. So how to protect yourself? If you're going outside, be sure to wear a mask. Download an app called IQ Air. It will tell you the air quality at any given hour. If the air quality is really bad, then stay inside. And in your home, buy like an air filter or some plants that's gonna help purify the air. If you're renting a place that's like ground level, especially with a lot of traffic, there's gonna be a lot of dust and fume that come to your home and you're gonna breathe that in. And if you can, try to rent a condo that's higher up with windows and balcony door that open and let in fresh air to your home. The second thing people always say is the food and water quality. Well, if you're eating street food, then you'll be in trouble sooner or later. So always try to eat at an established restaurant or something with a brand. They have some good hygiene practices and buy their ingredients fresh. And if you want to be really gung-ho about this, go out to a grocery store like Ang Nam, buy organics if you want to, and go home and cook it yourself. That's probably the safest way. But if you're here and eating street food once in a while, you should be okay. At first, your stomach will try to get used to it, so you might get diarrhea or stomach ache, but over time, it'll get much better. In terms of water, try to get a water filter for your home. People here don't drink straight from the tap. Maybe you can brush your teeth, that's fine. But a water bottle or a water filtration system would be recommended. And if you want to be really serious about it, buy water that's in a glass bottle. It's healthy, but could be very expensive for you as well. Number 3 is the noise level. When people are here in Ho Chi Minh City, especially in busy areas, they're going to complain about all the noise that's going on. For example, the street traffic, the honking, karaoke, construction, people yelling at each other sometimes. So if you guys are here, you have to get used to it. Especially during the day, people out and about doing their work, it's going to be very loud. If you want peace and quiet, maybe move out of the central area like Saigon District 1. In District 2, there are areas that are very quiet and it's only about 20-25 minute ride on a given day into the center. Number 4, people are worried about scams and petty thefts. To be honest, if you're here for a long time, you realize that it's actually a minor issue. If you're a guy, especially walking around, I feel very safe. Just don't hold your phone while you're crossing the street, and at nighttime, don't walk by yourself with your valuables just hanging around. Avoid areas that are very dark with nobody around. If you stay in the central area with a lot of people, lighting, and stores around, you should be okay. Petty theft is not very common if you keep your wits about you. Number 5 is the traffic. Sometimes people see videos of Vietnam and a lot of scooters and cars just zooming by. It can get very hectic. But if you're here for a long time, you'll navigate it fine. The cars and the trucks, don't mess with them. But the scooters, sometimes they're gonna dodge for you. Just kind of gauge the speed and direction they're going and try to cross slowly and steadily. And if somebody don't give you the right of way or not yielding, just stop, wait for the next opening and then cross. But overall, I find that it's okay with crossing the road and the traffic. If you're driving though, it can be very difficult, especially if you're here for the first 6 months to a year. Maybe don't drive, try to get grab bike or taxi around. And if you're going to drive, go to remote areas first to practice and then go into the city, because Ho Chi Minh City is very hectic. If you're going to practice driving here, you can be in for some trouble. If you don't like a lot of cars, maybe avoid traffic hours when people are going to work and coming home, like 7 to 9 in the morning and like 4 to 7 in the evening. Number 6 is the language. It's very hard to integrate into the community and make friends here if you don't know any Vietnamese. With Google Translate, you can get around for the first 6 months or so, but after that, you should really try to learn some basic words or sentences to get around with. Some people say because they look different or they don't speak Vietnamese, they're being targeted for scams or being charged at higher prices. Well, if you live here a long time, it actually will not be a problem because you know what everything costs and people will recognize you for the most part and they're not going to charge you high prices. And if places that do charge you too much, just don't return there again. A lot of people here are honest, they'll charge you the fair price, so don't let the few bad apples spoil the entire thing. Number 7 is income. People are concerned when they come to Vietnam, they're not going to be able to make the kind of income they do in the US, UK, or Canada. Well, if you're working online and making dollars and spending Vietnamese dong, then you're good to go. So try to do some freelancing, consulting job, or even content creation. It depends on what skills you have and what industry you're in. You can make a lot of money in Vietnam actually, but have a side hustle just to be safe, work something online, and you'll be fine here in Vietnam. Number 7 is the hot and humid weather, or the rain during typhoon season. Well, if you're here in Vietnam, that's something you have to deal with. It can get very hot, especially from March to May, and it get rainy from like June to August. So when you come here, be prepared. If it rains a lot or it's too hot, you can stay inside, do your work. But if you really cannot stand the heat, then get out of the kitchen, which means travel to other cities around here like Taiwan, or go to Dalat, or go to different areas that are a little bit cooler. Number 9 is the time zone difference. If you're coming here from Canada, US, it's going to be night over there when day over here, and vice versa. If you're a stockbroker or investor, you may have to stay up late to see the market movements in US. So in Vietnam, it can be very difficult for that. Or you have some partner you have to talk to in the West for business and things like that. You may have to wake up early or stay up late. Number 10 is the visa situation. Sometimes it's very hard to get a visa to stay here long term, like a year or two. So you may have to settle for 1 month or 3 months, depending on what you're doing here or what country you're from. For me, I get 6 months here, and sometimes I still have to do visa run out of the country and then come back. But they are trying to make something better, so let's see what kind of update they have in terms of visa. So those are the 10 common points that people bring up in regards to why they cannot live in Vietnam. What are your reasons? Put them below, and let's talk about living in Vietnam permanently. Thank you so much, and see you guys in the next video.